Good afternoon, guys. This is Lance from Cinematic Galaxy, and I am doing this super last minute, but in between rewatching the films, I'm really trying to crank out these reviews because I am traveling to Orlando in a few days in time for The Last Jedi. So I just wanted to get to rewatch the films and review them all quickly for you guys. And I'm starting with The Phantom Menace, which I have as a part of this Blu-ray set. I have the old DVDs, but I'm watching them via Blu-ray because the Puppet Yoda in the prequels looks better than the Puppet Yoda from The Phantom Menace. And the Blu-rays have the Blu-ray for The Phantom Menace has the CGI Yoda. So, anyway, without further ado, here's my review of Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Now, most of you guys who are Star Wars fans know the backstory of The Phantom Menace, the basic backstory as far as the making of the film. Back in 1999, this was the return to Star Wars that nobody was really expecting. Return of the Jedi came out in 1983, so this is 16 years after Return of the Jedi as far as when it was released, and a lot of the fans of the classic original trilogy were adults by this point, and they went into this film with a lot of hype and a lot of nostalgia, and the movie, honestly, a lot of people were let down by the film, and it's one of those movies, you have characters like Jar Jar Binks that are so widely hated. He's often called the worst, most annoying character in film history. And, and then, you just, there's so much about the film that was attacked. The dialogue, the CGI in places, not as much for this one, though, but people were mad about Jake Lloyd. But anyway, I'm not really here to talk about that much. I'm here to give my opinion on The Phantom Menace. Now, I was 6 years old in 1999 when this came out, and I didn't see it back then. I didn't really know much about Star Wars back then. I do remember the promotion for it, though, seeing it on Pizza Hut advertisements and all that. And when I did see the film, I believe I was 12. It was when I was just becoming a Star Wars fan, right after I saw the original trilogy. And I thought it was pretty boring, but I thought it was kind of boring. And there were moments where I kind of just went along with what a lot of more purists for the original trilogy said, which was that the film sucked and it was horrible and all that. I remember watching it again some point after I watched the Clone Wars series, which was 2 years ago, and really enjoying the movie a lot more. And with that, I'm kind of going to get into my opinion of the film. The movie's been out forever. You probably kind of know the story. It deals with Trade Federation blockades, and we meet young Anakin Skywalker when he's a kid. We see Jedi Master Qui-Gon Jinn, played by Liam Neeson, and his Padawan apprentice, Obi-Wan Kenobi, or his Padawan, I should say, Obi-Wan Kenobi, played by Ewan McGregor. Natalie Portman's in the film as Queen Amidala, or Padme Amidala, and there's a lot more. And I've got to be honest, I really do like The Phantom Menace. I almost love it. There are aspects of the film, the flaws of the prequels have kind of been discussed over and over again, so I'm going to just go ahead and knock them out really quick. Some of the dialogue is very stilted. A lot of it is. And it definitely feels, it's so story-oriented that some of the dialogue is kind of just dry, and it's focused mostly on moving the plot forward. So there doesn't really seem to be a whole lot of breathability in the dialogue. And George Lucas has never really been a big actor's director, so again, some of the dialogue is just a little wonky. And that's always been maybe one of his weaknesses as a director. And then Jar Jar Binks, I don't hate the character. I can tolerate him now. I mean, it's been so long, and I can sit through it. He was clearly meant to be the comic relief, although there are other theories about him out there. But he is what he is. He doesn't really help the movie. There are many moments where I wish he was not in the film. But, I kind of take that for what it is. And even though the film, we see young Obi-Wan and we meet young Anakin, the movie doesn't feel like it really has a central protagonist. And I think that was a mistake because one of the things people connected so much with the original trilogy for was that Luke was the central protagonist, and you felt like you were following his journey the entire time. The Phantom Menace is very story focused, and it feels like all the pieces are in place, and we're kind of just watching them through maybe a lens, which is kind of what we're doing. We're seeing them on a screen, but you don't really connect with the characters, at least in my experience. But enough of that. What do I love about this movie? I said it again. I'll say it again. The story, the lore. You know, Lucas really does make this movie feel like it's the beginning. It feels like it is the start of the mythology and a lot of the lore that leads up to the main Star Wars saga, or the original trilogy, which was the main story before this film came out. You know, the look of it, this was shot on film, and you can tell. And honestly, they did a great job really recapturing that classic Star Wars look. It looks really good, especially on Blu-ray. And they use a lot of practical models. The CGI that's used in this film is also very good. And even watching Jar Jar and watching Watto, you know, the CGI is very good, and you can tell for its time it was revolutionary, and it really has pushed that technology forward. In fact, it looks better than a lot of the Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith CGI, which I'll get to in my reviews of those films. Let's see. So even though I think some of the acting is stilted and dry, I still do see the actors as their characters. Liam Neeson, I really love him as Qui-Gon Jinn. Qui-Gon Jinn is a character that I've grown to be more fond of in recent years. Obi-Wan Kenobi is one of my favorite Star Wars characters of all time, and while that's largely due to Alec Guinness's portrayal in the original trilogy, it's also because of Ewan McGregor. And he does the best with his material in The Phantom Menace, and is really believable as a young Obi-Wan. Then you've got Jake Lloyd, and I'm just going to say it right now. I like Jake Lloyd as Anakin. He was a kid, and he acted like a kid. Whether or not you think Anakin should have been a kid is a different story. Personally, I don't mind it, because I think Lucas was trying to show that this innocent boy could somehow become Darth Vader. And that is powerful to me. But there are certain moments with Anakin that I really felt, like when he leaves his mother on Tatooine. That was a powerful moment, and the way the Force theme wells up is great. The pod racing scene. The scene in general, I love. It feels to me like Ben-Hur's chariot race from the classic Charlton Heston movie. I love that scene. It's really grown on me in recent years. Also, yeah, I mean, I guess just the sense of mystery behind him being the chosen one, I've grown to really appreciate that part of the lore. And Natalie Portman, she, you know, her acting isn't always the best either, but I still see her as Padme, and I do like the Padme character. So anyway, that's the part with the actors, and I said the story, the visuals, the design element, the score. John Williams is back once again, and he crushed it with the Phantom Menace musical score. It's great. I mean, it's great stuff. Anakin's theme is very good, but what this film is known for is Duel of the Fates, and it's one of the most iconic Star Wars themes ever. It's great stuff. You know, and then the last thing, the duel with Darth Maul at the end, Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon versus Darth Maul. It's a classic Star Wars duel. It's one of the iconic scenes of the saga films. And I really do feel that emotion when Maul kills Qui-Gon. I really do feel that emotion when Obi-Wan charges after him. And the choreography in that duel is some of the best stuff ever in Star Wars. It's really good stuff. Also, Palpatine, the way that Ian McDiarmid is introduced as, in this film, Senator Palpatine, and we see him become the Chancellor, and there's all kinds of foreboding and foreshadowing to him being the Emperor, and it's just done very, very well. And as an adult, I can see how they were seeding it in there, because when I was a kid, I didn't even know he was the Emperor. I put the pieces together, but I didn't start out knowing. All in all, I really like The Phantom Menace. I almost love it. You know, just take out a few things, change a few things here and there, and I'd probably love the movie, but I come really close to loving it. And on a scale of 1 to 10, I give it, honestly, I'm going to give The Phantom Menace a 7.6 out of 10. I think it's a good movie. Let me know what you guys think down below. Thanks as always for watching. This is Lance from Cinematic Galaxy, signing off.